Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to be talking about how to make a chord progression on the piano like this one. Now you can do anything with these chord progressions because chord progressions are the fundamentals of music. They are the underlying thing that goes under any song that you will know. And having a good grasp on how to make chords is a key part of being able to write songs and also understand any music. And particularly if you are a songwriter or want to be able to write your own music, being able to understand and make chord progressions is going to be the most valuable thing that you can do on any instrument. Now in this video we're going to be working in the key of A flat, and this means we're going to be using an A flat major scale. Now this might be confusing to some of you and I don't blame you, but all that means is that we're going to be using a certain set of notes on the piano and I will show you what they are. So in an A flat major scale we have an A flat, we have a B flat, a C, a D flat, an E flat, an F, a G, and then we're back to A flat again. I'll just go through that again. An A flat, a B flat, a C, a D flat, an E flat, an F, a G, and an A flat again. Now I do have lots of other videos on scales and chords, so if these are confusing, I do go into chords and scales a little bit more in depth in those videos, so be sure to check those out after this one if you get confused at any point along the way. But hopefully you won't do, and hopefully this will make complete sense. I hope. So, with the A flat scale, these are the only notes that we're going to be using on the piano for this. And to construct a chord in the key of A flat, all we do is we miss every other note from whichever note we want to start on. So let's say we want to start on A flat, we're going to miss the second note in A flat, and we're going to play the third note, and then we're going to miss the fourth note, and we're going to play the fifth note. And this makes an A flat chord. So you can start on any note in this scale and this will work exactly the same. So let's pick another note. Let's pick C, for example. This was the third note in the scale, in the set of notes that we're going to use. And if we play a C, and then play two notes away, and then two notes away, then that is the chord that we're going to use starting on a C. And all of these chords are in the key of A flat, which means that there are 7 notes and therefore there are 7 chords, because there is a chord that starts on each note in this scale, in this key. So we can use any of these. And on top of this, once you have those 3 notes, you can add any notes to this depending on how you want it to sound. So if we go back to the first chord, A flat chord, which was these 3 notes, if I want to add this note, for example, the second note, I can. And I can also, because I know it's an A flat chord, I can add an A flat in the left hand. And we get this kind of sound. You can also play any of the other notes that are in this chord in the left hand and it will change the sound of it completely. And you can use this as well. So for example, instead of an A flat in the left hand, if I play a C in the left hand, you get a much weaker sound. It sounds very longing. That's just one chord. Then we can move to a different chord. So let's say instead of A flat, this time we choose B flat. So we take this note, and this note. That gives us this chord. And we put the B flat in the left hand because we know it's a B flat chord. This is chord number 2 in A flat, this works. So if we go from this chord to this chord, that sounds pretty good to me. We can also add notes to this, so let's try. Now this note here, to me, the one that I've added, sounds like it wants to go to there. And you can hear this a lot in music. There are certain notes that feel like they are leaning towards a different note, and that creates a sense of tension in the music and then resolution. And tension and resolution is all music is really based on. It's based on what your expectations are and how you can either lean into your expectations or lean away from your expectations and divert your listener to somewhere else. So that's all we're trying to do with these chords. Either go for expectation like this, or go against it like this. And that chord is still perfectly valid, but it doesn't sound as good to me because it doesn't sound like where we were expecting it to go. And if you can take your listener on a journey with your chord progressions, then this is the best way to do it, I think. Also, moving by steps when working with chords is the best way to approach it. So you can rearrange notes so that you are only moving by steps at a time, such as this. When you move from here to here, we are mostly moving by steps because this is just moving up one note in the scale. But when we go to this third chord, this G wants to go by step to the A flat. So we can rearrange this A flat chord so the A flat is on the top with a C in the left hand to give us a smoother path between the chords. Now that may sound very, very confusing, everything that I've explained there, and I don't blame you if it does. However, what I would urge you to do is pick a scale, any scale, work out how to play a scale if you don't know how, work out each of the chords in that scale, and then start playing around with adding notes and moving bass notes by one note at a time, one step in the scale at a time, and finding chords that fit with that note. For example, in the key of C, which is much more simple because it's just all of the white notes, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So that means the chords are just all of the white notes moving up one step at a time. Now I can go from a C chord to a D chord, and this is just moving by step. But I can also go from a C chord to a B chord, and that's moving by step. But let's say I want to go from a C chord to a G chord. Now I can actually do this by moving by step because in a G chord we have the notes G, B and D. So I can rearrange them so that we have G, B and D with a B in the left hand. And this is still a G chord. The notes are exactly the same, it hasn't changed. Except I'm now moving by step rather than by jumping from a C to a G. I'm now moving just by one step, and that to me sounds much more pleasing to the ear. So that's all we're doing really, is we're applying that same method but in a key that has more black notes in it, so it looks slightly more confusing. Now once you've worked out what chords might sound good together, you want to try and work out how you're going to structure your chord progression. And usually, and certainly in popular music, you will have either 4 or 8 bar phrases. And what this means is that after 4 or 8 bars, you're either going to want to start the same chord progression again, or you're going to want to change the chord progression into something different. But you're going to probably want to land back on an A flat because we're in the key of A flat. So we started on A flat. So if I pick 4 chords, and then go back to A flat, this sounds like a nice well-rounded phrase because you've started somewhere, you've travelled away, and then you are returning back to where you started. And you can do this either over 4 or 8 bars, and you can choose as many chords as you want to fit within this space of time. But it's worth working out exactly how you're going to fit those chords in there. For example, if I choose 5 chords, something like this, I might want to play one of those chords twice as quickly because then they will all fit into a nice 4 bar phrase even though we've got 5 chords. Something like this. So you can hear I sped up in the middle there and made 2 of those chords much quicker. And if I add another chord, so we have 6, I can then do the same thing again. And it's starting to sound more and more complicated the more chords I fit into that short space of time. And it's all just by where my ear is leading in terms of chord structures. I would definitely urge you to play around with individual chords first and then start trying to maybe map them out on a piece of paper. Maybe mark 4 bars on a page and just put 1 chord per bar and then start adding into that and see where it takes you, whether you like that chord sequence or not. That's a good place to start with chord reading and writing. Now in my next video I'll be talking about how to write a melody that might go with a chord sequence like this. So if you are interested in that, be sure to subscribe and I will see you there. And if you found this video useful, before you go on to this video, be sure to hit the like button and I will see you next time.